Top 10 secrets you should know to find any gem. They're hidden in rivers, buried in mountains, resting beneath your boots as you walk through gravel and dust. Gemstones, the Earth's oldest, rarest, most quietly valuable treasures. But finding them? That takes more than luck. This video reveals 10 secrets that every successful gem hunter knows. From reading riverbeds to recognizing the weight of a real stone, from using ultraviolet light to trusting ancient stories whispered across generations. These are the tools, tactics, and truths that turn ordinary collectors into true discoverers. Don't forget to press and hold that like button, leave a comment, and hit subscribe before we begin. 1. Not all gems are found in mines. Follow the water. When most people imagine finding a gemstone, they picture going deep underground, miners in helmets, chiseling away in dark tunnels. But some of the world's most valuable gems aren't found in mines. They're found in places where water once ran wild. Over time, rain and erosion break gemstones free from their original host rocks. Rivers and flash floods carry these heavy minerals, sapphire, garnet, zircon, even diamond, downhill, depositing them in alluvial zones, stream beds, gravel bars, dry washes, and fans at the base of hills. These are nature's sorting machines. As the water slows, the heavier stones settle first. That's where the savvy gem hunters go. Generations of collectors have pulled precious stones from shallow gravel in regions like Montana's Missouri River, Sri Lanka's Ratnapura, or Australia's sapphire fields without ever stepping into a mine shaft. The key isn't luck, it's knowing how water behaves. Where does it curve? Where does it slow down? What parts of the stream collect the heaviest debris after a storm? Even in dry climates, ancient water paths leave behind clues. A long-dried arroyo in Arizona or a seasonal streambed in Myanmar may still hold gemstone concentrations just inches beneath the surface. So when searching for gems, don't just think down, think downhill. Follow the water path and you'll follow the path of gravity, erosion, and time. Because long after the river disappears, the stones it carried often remain. 2. Learn the host rock. It tells you what's possible. Every gemstone has a birthplace written on the rock surrounding it. Understanding host rock is one of the most important and most overlooked skills in gem hunting. Gems don't form randomly. They grow in specific geologic environments tied to heat, pressure, chemistry, and time. You're guessing in the dark if you don't know the host. Diamonds, for example, almost always originate in kimberlite or lamproite. Rare volcanic rocks form deep in Earth's mantle. Emeralds typically grow in black shale or schist, especially where beryllium-rich fluids meet chromium-bearing rocks. Sapphires thrive in basalt flows or metamorphic zones. And tourmaline? You'll likely find it in pegmatite dikes, where slow-cooling magma concentrates exotic elements. Identifying the right host rock lets you rule out 90% of unproductive ground before digging. It narrows the search, focuses your time, and gives your hunt direction rooted in geology, not guesswork. In short, don't just look for the gem. Look for the environment that creates it. Carry a field guide. Learn to recognize schist from serpentine and granite from gneiss. Because gems are loyal, they grow where the chemistry is right and rarely stray far from home. Master the host rock, and you master the map. 3. Indicator minerals are nature's clues. Long before a gemstone shows itself, it sends signals, hidden in the gravel, scattered in stream beds, or embedded in the surrounding rock. These signals are called indicator minerals, and for trained gem hunters, they function like breadcrumbs leading to treasure. Certain gems rarely appear alone. They form in unique geological environments alongside other, more common minerals. These companions are often more visible, easier to detect, and geochemically tied to the presence of the gem itself. For instance, in the diamond hunt, one doesn't search for the stone directly. Instead, they follow garnet, chromite, ilmenite, or chrome diopside, minerals that form under the same extreme conditions and rise to the surface with the diamond during deep volcanic eruptions. For sapphires, clues might come from iron-stained corundum fragments or weathered basalt-containing mineral relics. For emeralds, explorers look for black mica, quartz veins, and carbonate-rich schist, materials that suggest the chemical handshake needed for beryl to crystallize with chromium or vanadium. By identifying these indicators early, Prospectors can avoid fruitless digging and hone in on gem-rich zones with precision. It's not just about seeing the obvious. It's about reading the subtle signs the earth leaves behind. Because in gem hunting, success rarely comes from looking directly at what you want. It comes from understanding what surrounds it and following the clues that only nature knows how to leave. 4. Weathering reveals what cutting can't. Most people think the real discovery in gemstone hunting happens when the rock is cut, polished, or cracked open. But in truth, nature often does the most challenging work long before human hands touch it. The key? Weathering. Over time, exposure to wind, rain, heat, and ice breaks down host rocks and brings what's hidden inside closer to the surface. This natural process doesn't just expose gems, it highlights them. It softens the surrounding matrix, stains fracture lines with oxides, and sometimes even alters the surface luster of minerals, making them easier to spot in the field. For example, garnet crystals in schist may weather out in complete form, lying loose in gravel after the surrounding mica erodes. Opals in volcanic rhyolite can gain surface sheen as weathering, etc. Shaves away silica, enhancing their play of color. Even sapphires, typically hard to identify in rough basalt, may become visible after seasonal monsoon rains wash off lighter sediment and expose heavier stones. And there's another layer: timing. The best time to search isn't always during ideal weather. It's after a storm, a landslide, or snowmelt, when erosion has done the excavation for you. Gem hunters often say in the field, "Let the rain dig for you." Cutting reveals a gem's perfection, but weathering reveals its presence. For those who pay close attention to the land, not just the stone, every crack, stain, and softened edge is a whisper from the earth saying, "There's something here. Look closer." 5. The right tools matter less than the right eyes. It's easy to assume that the best gem hunters carry the best gear: ultrasonic detectors, GPS-mapped grids, and mineral analyzers. But talk to any veteran in the field, and they'll tell you the truth. Your most powerful tool isn't in your hand. It's in your head and your eyes. Spotting gemstones in the wild is less about technology and more about training your attention. It's knowing how a crystal reflects light differently from surrounding rock. It's recognizing a flash of blue that isn't water or a heavy pebble that's too dense to be just quartz. A well-trained eye and a $10 hand lens often outperform a full backpack of expensive instruments. Take zircon, for example, which is often confused with brown sand or glassy debris. Its brilliance is subtle in rough form, but a trained observer will catch the telltale sparkle under the right light. Or tourmaline, which can blend with black mica unless you've learned to spot its striations. And it's not just about vision, it's about pattern recognition. Knowing where to look in a stream bed, how to read the slopes of a hillside, or how erosion patterns concentrate heavier minerals. These are skills developed over time, not bought at a supply store. Technology helps, but intuition leads. In gemstone hunting, the eyes that know what to ignore are often more valuable than the tools designed to find everything. The difference between walking past a $2,000 crystal and bending down to pick it up is usually just knowing what to see. 6. Know the colors, but trust the weight. Color is the first thing that catches the eye. But in gemstone hunting, color alone can be deceptive. Shiny glass, worn plastic, or fragments of quartz can mimic the appearance of rare gems in the field. That's why trained collectors always apply a second test: weight. Most gemstones have what's known as high specific gravity, meaning they're heavier than they look. Please pick up a rough zircon. It feels dense for its size. Spinel, garnet, and sapphire all share this trait. Even in uncut, unpolished form, they often stand out in the hand simply because they feel wrong, too heavy to be just another river pebble. This technique is instrumental in stream beds or gravel pits, where thousands of stones may share the same color or texture. While your eyes scan for the right hues, deep red, vibrant blue, earthy green, your hands confirm what's real. That extra weight may be the only sign that you're holding something valuable. And it's not just about gem types. Some stones may appear dull or opaque in their natural state, but their density tells a different story. In places like Sri Lanka, Vietnam, and the American Rockies, many gem discoveries have started not with sparkle, but with a pause, a single stone that felt just a little too heavy and turned out to be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. So yes, train your eyes to recognize color, but train your hands to feel value. Because when it comes to finding real gems, weight speaks louder than shine. 7. Listen to local lore. It's often based on truth. Sometimes the most valuable clues don't come from science. They come from stories. Across every gem-producing region in the world, local communities have passed down tales of glowing rocks, blood-colored stones, or rivers that sparkled after rain. These stories might sound poetic or exaggerated, but in many cases, they're rooted in generations of observation and geological memory. In Sri Lanka, Ratnapura means City of Gems. That title came not from geologists, but from ancient traders who noticed where the sapphires flowed. In the American Southwest, indigenous tribes spoke of red stones with fire inside, a likely reference to fire opals long before the gem trade knew the region's value. In parts of Africa, children used to play with black glass that cut, obsidian and sometimes raw diamond octahedrons mistaken for quartz. These tales aren't just folklore, they're pre-scientific data encoded through the story. The places people return to, the colors they describe, and the strange shapes they remember can help modern gem hunters focus their search. Especially in remote or poorly mapped areas, local knowledge can reveal sites that have never been officially surveyed. Of course, not every story leads to a treasure, but the wise prospector knows that where legends persist, minerals often follow. Combining community wisdom with scientific tools usually leads to discoveries neither could make alone. So don't just study the land, listen to those who've walked it for centuries. Sometimes the old stories are the Earth's way of whispering where the gems still sleep. 8. Gems form where elements collide. Gemstones aren't born in calm places. They form where the Earth struggles, shifts, and collides. The most gem-rich zones on Earth tend to exist where geological forces meet head-on, at tectonic boundaries, fault lines, and zones of intense pressure and heat. These environments may seem violent, but they provide the exact recipe for crystallization. Rare elements, concentrated fluids, rising temperatures, and time. Take emeralds, for example. They require a collision between beryllium-bearing granite and chromium or vanadium-rich shale. Two geologic worlds that generally don't meet unless something moves. That something is usually a fault or plate boundary. Similarly, diamonds form deep in the Earth's mantle, but are only brought to the surface by violent eruptions, kimberlite pipes that tear through the crust like geological rockets. Even sapphires, spinel, and tourmaline often occur in regions with tectonic complexity. The more fractured, folded, and metamorphosed the rocks, the more likely they contain hidden veins of gem-bearing minerals. Why? Because crystal growth requires instability, a push and pull of chemistry, pressure, and transformation. Maps may show you where gemstones have been found, but geology shows you why they're there. And if you learn to read the landscape for signs of ancient collisions, folded strata, mineralized faults, or igneous intrusions, you'll gain something better than luck: predictive power. Gems are born from conflict, and where the Earth fought hardest, it often left behind something beautiful. 9. A UV light can reveal what the sun cannot. Not all gemstones reveal themselves in daylight. Some only speak under a different kind of light: ultraviolet. Ultraviolet, UV light, especially in shortwave and longwave forms, can cause certain minerals to fluoresce, a physical reaction in which they emit visible light in vivid colors when exposed to invisible UV rays. This phenomenon doesn't just create beautiful effects, it provides one of the most powerful, low-cost tools in the gem hunter's kit. With only a handheld UV flashlight, often under $30, you can scan rocks, gravel, or even jewelry for telltale signs that something special is hiding in plain sight. Under UV light, ruby glows in intense red. Fluorite may light up in purples or blues. Scapolite can flash yellow, while calcite ranges from orange to pink. Even some diamonds fluoresce blue, a trait used in the grading process by professional gem labs. Fluorescence isn't always a confirmation of value, but it's a powerful filter, quickly separating rocks that deserve a second look from those that don't. A UV light can turn an ordinary rock pile into a glowing constellation of clues in fieldwork, especially at night or in shaded areas like caves and mines. But be aware, not all gemstones fluoresce, and not all fluorescence means the same thing. Like every tool, it works best with knowledge of host rocks, mineral chemistry, and context. Still, in the right hands, UV light becomes a superpower, because when the sun can't tell you what's real, the shadows sometimes can. 10. Patience outweighs luck, always. Luck may sparkle in stories, but rarely finds gems in the field. What does? Patience. Quiet, disciplined, often invisible, but always powerful. Gemstones are not easy prey. They're locked inside mountains, buried beneath riverbeds, disguised by millions of years of earth, time, and pressure. They don't show up because someone got lucky. They show up because someone kept showing up. Real gem hunters know this truth. They return to the same creek after every rainfall. They hike the same ridge each season, watching how erosion changes face. They dig 10 times in the wrong spot, so the 11th hits pay dirt. They don't chase rumors. They read the land, listen, and learn. Patience is not about waiting. It's about working with time instead of racing against it. It's trusting that failure is part of the process. Every stone picked up and discarded trains the eye. Every empty day builds the instinct to spot the one day that isn't. The earth took millions of years to create a single sapphire, garnet, and fire opal. Expecting to find it in a single afternoon misses the point. The most valuable tool in any gem hunter's bag isn't a pickaxe, a loop, or a GPS map. It's the mindset that says, I'll keep going because something worth finding is out there, and I'm going to be the one who finds it. Top 10 secrets you should know to find any gem. They're hidden in rivers, buried in mountains, resting beneath your boots as you walk through gravel and dust. Gemstones, the Earth's oldest, rarest, most quietly valuable treasures. But finding them? That takes more than luck. This video reveals 10 secrets that every successful gem hunter knows. From reading riverbeds to recognizing the weight of a real stone, from using ultraviolet light to trusting ancient stories whispered across generations. These are the tools, tactics, and truths that turn ordinary collectors into true discoverers. Don't forget to press and hold that like button, leave a comment, and hit subscribe before we begin.